Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another installment, another episode of Beat Pro Wrestling Presents on Air Radio. And here with me this evening, we are being joined by the resident motivator of BPW. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the one, the only Paul Mota.
How are we doing tonight?
We're doing fantastic. We're very happy to have you here, Paul. And honestly, you know, you coming into BPW, you've been here for a little bit, but we haven't really heard from you all that much. And I gotta ask, what is Paul Moda all about?
Well, I think the things you can expect from Mota, simply put, are just that no matter what the situation is, no matter what it may be, you could put me in a tag match, you can put me in a singles match. I'll always go out there and give you the best thing. I'll always be able to, as the moniker goes, motivate the audience. Not just the audience, but the roster that sits in the back, that watches my matches, that sees what I'm doing. I hope I can set an example, good or bad, for that roster. Light something in them. Because honestly, it's been on and off with that flame. I want to be able to rekindle that, light that fire once again.
Definitely. I can see that you have this drive in you, of course, calling yourself the motivator. You go out and put on these astonishing five-star matches, these instant classics. We've seen you do some impressive things here in BPW, but you also bring up a very good point. You say that you want to rekindle that flame, you want to light the fire up underneath you again. And, you call yourself the motivator, but if I got to be honest, for the past month or so, maybe longer, you haven't really been able to win when it matters, and it's left you kind of high and dry in terms of the spotlight. When you came in, you were taking the spotlight for your own. Now you're kind of figuring yourself out again. And I gotta ask, what is there a cause that made this happen? Is that something happened to Paul Moda that made that fire go out? And what's it going to take to bring that back?
Well, that's actually it's a good point you brought up, and I will have to respond with that. If you looked at if you had looked at what else I have done outside of our doors, if you had seen the legacy I carved for myself, you would have known that I came into BPW holding that same standard, wanting to set that expectation for myself and for the roster. But coming into BPW, I was red hot, defeating guys like Jordan Shadows, Daquan Shea, my debut. But as time went on, I familiarized myself with the locker room. It's been a bit shaky for me. I will say I'm kind of finding my place on the radar. And I think for the past few weeks, I'm gonna be honest, I've kind of been gone ghost. I've been going on and off the radar, can't really find my own place. And I think with this recent match, it just proved that I'm lost. I gotta find my way back on the road to success, like I've shared in other promotions.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, Paul. And I hope certainly coming, not just as a member of management, but from a person who used to struggle with the same thing when I used to compete. I really hope that you do find that road again, because obviously Paul Moda has the skills to be on the top, to carve this legacy that you speak of and make it something legendary. You definitely are able to do that for yourself. It's just about finding what path you need to go down. And hopefully you don't stay ghosted for too long, because we all enjoy having Paul Moda around here. We all love seeing Paul Moda in the spotlight. And I think that's something that's very deserved for you with the amount of work that you put into this. Now, I want to ask, with everything that you have done in BPW, I mean, you've obviously had your fair bit of challenges. One of the biggest challenges you had was, of course, Bobby Legend, going for that Warhorse title. You seem to, no pun intended, fallen off the horse since then. Um, what are some dream matches, or maybe some things you look to go for in the future?
Well, if you looked at my career, if you looked at how I've always been more of a lone wolf. I can't picture myself with anybody else. and I kind of just act on my own. So therefore, that rules out the tag scene. I would not want to go into there because I would want to share the success for myself. As for anybody one on one, anybody singles, as far as dream matches goes, my top guy is Blaze, easily.
Hmm.
I've kept tabs of him throughout the years. I've been noting him, checking him out. Honestly, he's one of the top dogs in BPW for the short amount of time he's been here, especially when he had
Definitely.
the Fight Club Championship. Now that he doesn't have it, I see him as vulnerable in the future. Maybe someday our paths will cross. I would love that at some point. But as far as other dream matches goes, it's a shot in the dark. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Well, I can tell you with your resume that honestly the sky is the limit for you, Paul. Obviously, you are correct. Blaze is one of the biggest names in BPW today. I mean, he came in and in his second match became Fight Club champion. And much like the Fight Club champion before him, he got two defenses under his belt, but just fell short of that third defense. Regardless of that fact, he still is in the voting for Hotline for the world title because we appreciate the amount of work that he's done in BPW. We appreciate the amount of success that he's had so far.
Mm.
And I mean, you said it yourself. He's one of the biggest names. I think going after Blaze would be a great idea, but I think, you could realistically go after anyone and it would be an instant classic. Now, obviously, Paul, you say that you're a lone wolf, that the tag team division isn't really a good suit for you. But we have a lot of good tag teams in the tag team division right now. A big tag team right now on the up and up is Best for Business, Anthony Rigoni and Adam Epps. Give me your thoughts on teams like them.
Well, I've kept tabs on them as well throughout their careers as well. Rigoni and I obviously go back a couple of years. Same thing with Epps. They've always been separate, but they've always been close at heart. And to see them teaming up right now, it's, you know what? I'll go and say it's touching. But as far as the best tag team goes, honestly, it's hard to say. I have to give it to the Prominence. Maybe they're probably the top of the team, the top of the tier right now when it comes to tag teams.
I mean, obviously, the Prominence being the tag team champions, so it's
Exactly.
it's very accurate in saying that they're the best tag team right now in the division since they do hold the gold. And not only do they hold the gold, but they've retained the gold for a long time now. And I mean, who knows? Maybe that can all change at Hotline, but nevertheless, that remains to be seen.
Hmm.
Well, Paul, I've got to say that I do believe we have everything covered here, unless there's anything that you may want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Well, I think it's safe to say that, like I mentioned before, I am one of the hardest workers in BPW right now. You honestly could call me a workhorse, but don't let that take away from the fact that there are other people out there that have been here shorter, honestly have done less, have contributed less, and there's still those that are sitting at the top, while we have to struggle climbing. I know guys like Kyle Young recently just won the BPW championship. He's one of those workhorses, and I respect him for that.
That he
So
is.
Kyle, you've got my respect, man. If you ever need somebody to back you up, I got you.
Well, that is very touching to hear you say, and very, very admirable to see that you can see the work that people have put into the roster that you are a part of. And it's very nice to see that because not a lot of people can admit that. A lot of people in this business would much rather be all about what they're doing rather than being able to see what everyone else is doing as well. So that's a very admirable quality for you. Um, I guess that's all I've got for you here tonight, Paul, but I do want to end it with this. What is next for Paul Mota?
Well, I think the only rightful answer you can expect from Mota in the near future, simply put, expect the unexpected from Mota. I've got plans. I've got some contacts to make. I'm making some big steps here. What you've been seeing recently has been on and off. But next starts the consistency. Next starts the climb. The ever changing Paul Mota is indeed on the rise, is indeed motivated, but will represent the forgotten.
I have no doubts about that at all, Mota. I think the climb that you are setting yourself out to go achieve, I think you will go very far, and I wish nothing but the best for you in what you were planning out to do, and I can't wait to see it. So, thank you very much for joining me here tonight, Paul. It was a pleasure having you,